Hello, and welcome back to what is, I believe, the final episode of the week for Hooky Hour. This beautiful Friday. I sure hope it's a beautiful Friday. I don't want to be too presumptuous. I just hope your Friday has been going well. This is, this is some Wednesday way in advance before whatever Friday this is probably coming out on. Unless I decide to change up the video schedule, which I don't really have plans to, but nonetheless, let's get down to business. Where right now we are playing a little, I guess you could call it a cat and mouse game, a game of chicken, trying to, between our two lovely characters, of which Gazelle is trying to get Michael to talk about the painting and why he's alone in the dark, and Michael is trying to figure out why Gazelle was sitting here. So let's hope one of those answers is at least entertained, if not answered today. And if that was the case, I had to get her to talk. Don't make me. Gazelle's eyes were open wide. I recognized the look she was giving me. I knew very well what that gaze meant. You're an abomination. It was the same as them. Fear, contempt, revulsion, repulsion. The way she acted, the way she spoke. It was exactly the same. You're no different. I made her uncomfortable. I made her afraid. She thought I was unpleasant. She thought I was despicable. She thought I was an abomination. Oh no, it's like I think this has some callbacks to the Beast story, at least. That's what I'm picking up. In a frenzy, I grabbed her by the shoulders, clamping down far more powerfully than I had meant to. Ow, stop! Her face, contorted in pain, morphed into someone else's. Who was I directing my anger at? Where was this rage being aimed? Who are you calling an abomination? What? Tell me, who? The black furor bubbling up from within me knew no end. I think it's furor? Oh boy, it's been a hot minute since I've seen that word. I'd have to look up how it's pronounced later. I don't think it's fear, though. It doesn't... There's another word that's similar. German word. Well, similar in how it looks to be pronounced anyways. The girl, she ridiculed me. She denied my identity with her glare. I couldn't escape from that phantom, that reality. What are... I never called you... No, get away from me. Get your hands off me, you abomination. Gazelle's scream echoed in the entrance hall, rattling my eardrums. She frantically smacked my arms aside, and then I came back to my senses. And then he did what? She was standing a little ways away, breathing heavily, arms wrapped tight around her body, glowering at me, showing her opposition to my touching her. Enlightening. No. You just, you startled me, that's all. Some servant you are, telling your master not to touch you. Oh yeah, that's right. I kind of forgot about that whole thing. Yeah, he doesn't have curse touch. I think we just confirmed it. Otherwise, I think from the last story, if he touched too long, then the effects of the curse, happened immediately. Right, I have, I'm, allergic to people. It's very, unique condition, I hear. I mean, can you believe that? Oh man, this is so interesting. As it's not exactly the same, but you see where the inspiration from the previous story came from. See? You know how some people get all red and itchy when they touch a dog or a cat? It's that, except for people, so... So? So, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I beg your forgiveness. Why don't you speak your mind? What? This is what's going through your mind right now. I have nothing to apologize for. No, that's not... I can somewhat sympathize with your plight, being made to apologize even though you're hurting. I raise my hand against you first, after all. Then you forgive me? Sympathy does not equate to forgiveness. Now, you take care of the package. I'm heading back to my chambers now that I've successfully owned the liberals. What is it? You're not going to make me leave after what I just did. No, I'm not. Or it would seem I can make you leave on your own whenever I so please. Man, this is a rough situation. Besides, I had yet to learn what she had done. It would be exceedingly difficult to get the story from her own mouth, which left me with one option: to write a letter to my mother, as much as the very thought revolted me. Alright, well, letter inbound, I guess. Oh, you know what? The writing a letter, just like in the Jacopo story. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michael wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me. But there was little point in asking when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Although at first I had been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me. The more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, faintly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. A chapel. Chaperone. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. What was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the windows, the pews seemed to be pointed at the culprit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why there would be a chapel in the mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. You ever played a Dark Souls game? You got some funky buildings in those. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. It's a very well-made chapel at any rate. I doubted Michael had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him, and he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers. Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other options. Oh hey, new background painting in watercolor? That's neat. Don't you worry. It'll all work out, I promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent noble house, way out of reach of some small-time merchants like us. You never know, this could be my big break. Aha, merchants. Oh, I'm just kidding, heh. Don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back on our feet. Oh, for goodness sake, I'll handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I like to imagine she's just like talking on the phone and all you can hear is like the squeaky every time she she answers. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to Mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm going to make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? Ahem. How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See? How about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? Okay, so flashback. I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say the business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then my sister fell in love with a moderately well-off aristocrat. My mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry. But their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. It kind of reminds me, first story, that's the white-haired girl comes from a not noble family, meets a flaxen-haired boy, and well, yeah, little, I don't know, just a little similar, just a little bit, just a tinge. I'm remembering most of the callbacks. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. And also it works in the Jacopo story too, because that was also a case in which Jacopo, well, I think he had a little bit of status, but it wasn't like tippity top. Unlike the white-haired girl in that story. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger estate approached me. He said they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other, lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer. So I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. And now here I was, staring at this chapel of stained glass. I just pray that nothing bad happens to my sister. But, well, we'll have to keep praying because it is time for next time on Hooky Hour. So until then, I'll see ya. Bye.